There we are up and running. So please everyone, welcome to today's webinar about BOF Playbook. And it's a webinar about getting more impact out of boards on fire within your daily operations. And the two of us is going to host this one.
Yeah.
It's
me, Simon, and I work as a strategic customer success manager here at Boards on Fire, helping our customers implement the product. And the experience I'm going to share today is that we've visited a lot of our customers in the factories and learned a lot about pulse meetings. So, yeah.
Yeah. And my name is Ronnie, and I have the same experience as Simon's having.
Yeah, a little more.
A little more. I have a previous background as a lean consultant for the last 20 years, so I've been helping a lot of companies with daily management, of course, together with some other lean rollouts. And yeah, we're gonna share our experience out of a maybe more like methodology-wise perspective on Boards on Fire.
Exactly. So you can share the screen on. And normally when we do these webinars, we're going inside the product a lot, right? Showing you guys how things work and how to build stuff. But today will be a bit more theoretical, I think.
Yeah. So right now we are within the introduction. We're just gonna mention a little bit why we are running this webinar right now and what we're gonna focus on. And then after that, we're gonna go into daily management from multiple perspectives. And what do we mean by that? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the product itself and how to think about, how to design the boards, where to focus to get the best out of attention and output out of the daily management. But we're also going to talk about a little bit other methods, because daily management is, even though we have a fantastic product, we have a lot of different phases. You can use Boards on Fire in so many ways, and we are seeing a small portion here out of the rollouts that we have. Boards on Fire can have many phases, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to think to get the most out of that.
Exactly. There are many things connected to working with daily management, like leadership, managing, etc. No, it's not only the software itself. So, yeah.
No. And of course, sorry.
Now you go.
We know that all of you are really experienced already, but also we hope that from the different perspectives that you can do some findings during the webinar about how to taking a step forward in getting even a little bit better.
Yeah. Exactly. That was just what I was about to say.
Yeah.
And then we're going to finish with some questions and answers, hopefully some answers at least. Yeah. And then we'll round it off.
Yes.
Right. So looking at this slide, I'll just give it a second.
Sorry.
Yeah. So looking at this slide, we can see, right, that there are so many different ways of running your daily management structure. And Ronnie and I, and Boards on Fire in general, doesn't have a common answer. There's no universal answer to how to run your daily management, but we want to share our thoughts and ideas and what we've learned from all of our customers. And together we've visited over 60 customers at least, right? Yeah, hoping to visit a lot more. And since this webinar is in English, I assume most of you guys we have not been at yet, but hopefully in the future, right?
Yep. And we've seen some really good examples when we've been out there. Sometimes it's, we get so engaged as visitors. So, we want to step into the meeting itself. And sometimes we stand and think a little bit, okay, maybe you could do like this instead, or, small improvements. And those are the ones we're going to try to share here.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's kick it.
Fire away. So the purpose of daily management, right? Let's just start here. I think we can all agree that it's about managing our operations every day. And we need to move our business forward, even in small increments. So yeah, that's the definition, right? And what it should help us achieve. And some points here would be that we need to create a shared understanding of the current situation. Everyone should quickly understand the current state, what's working, what's not, and what needs to be prioritized today. And alignment is critical here to avoid people pulling in different directions. And the boards will help with that, of course. We need to focus on disruptions and deviations. So a clear focus here, making obstacles visible early so that problems don't grow or impact other parts of the operations. And if we make decisions while the problems are small, the faster we do that, the situation before the deviations become bigger, etc., it's going to be cheaper also. So that is a clear focus. And the earlier we act, the lower the cost. So the next point, move responsibility closer to the operation. And this we talk about a lot, right?
Yep.
We need to, and we will get into that in our training slides later on as well. But we need to give our teams and our employees the mandate to act where the knowledge of the work exists, right? If we have let's say we're on the floor and there is a simple deviation somewhere, an operator should not just flag his hand or call the boss or somehow, yeah, act towards the management. We want them to be trained in, okay, this is a problem. Can I solve it myself or with my team, and how to work closer to the operation. So that is a focus that we want to teach you guys. And along with that, we need to drive improvements every day as well. And we need to create a culture where small improvements happen continuously. So not only driving these large improvements, but making these small incremental improvements every day. And that can also be taught to be managed by the teams themselves, right? And we want that, at least from our perspective. Yeah. And we need to develop ways of working and behaviors over time. So we need to build habits around collaboration, ownership, problem solving, and learning in everyday work. And that will, in the end, create a long-term impact. Yeah.
Yep.
And so if we boil it down to the purpose of this slide, right, what we want from our daily management is an improved flow, a more engaged team, and better results that happen every day in smaller increments. That's what I would say. Any thoughts, Ronnie?
Yeah, I really like to stress even more on this, how to get people more engaged and taking responsibility. There's a lot going back to the shared understanding. If we don't have a shared understanding of the production, the operations, the problems, or whatever it is, we're going to have some different ideas about it, and then we're going to argue about the different ideas instead of the problem itself. So it's, help people see the clear picture, the bigger picture, and we're going to talk about this later when we look at deviations and so on, to really understand why do we have sometimes the problems that we have. That is, yeah, not making us get the production or process that we want to. Okay, next slide. How to build rhythm and structure. And we purposely choose this word rhythm here because, the whole day, the process, the working day and so on, it has a certain rhythm, and we can really feel it, experience it, and you can do the same when you're visiting different factories. And there are certain rhythms, and sometimes it's different between also different teams within a site. And we want daily management to be part of making that a very positive and ongoing rhythm, because it's not just about the daily management meeting itself. Most of you that are using our product, you are not just using it for daily management. You're using it for operations during the day and visualizing what is happening within operations. And then it's so important that we have a rhythm about that. And what do we mean with that? It's like, okay, if something's happening in the afternoon, to really take that note and address it either for the weekend or for the evening meeting or for the next day meeting. So we're not just standing and looking at the daily management. It's also to collect ideas and thoughts and frustrations during the day. So same time, same rhythm every day. As people, we like structure. We like each day to be a little bit
habits.
Habits. We want them to look about the same, even though we can be as forward going as ever. And with a lot of people and building that culture, same rhythm every day, same meeting with a clear focus. And of course, you should always improve it, but it's very important with this clear focus. And one part of that is an updated board. Otherwise, it's going to be frustrating it's going to be frustrating feeling within the team to look at, this is old figures, this is old information. It should always be the latest. So really keep that one up.
Yeah, and also easy to understand, right? If you don't understand what this data is, it's going to be pointless as well. And you're going to argue about that. So you got to make sure we've broken it down so that the team understands what the data we're looking at means.
Yeah. And that's a really important thing, as you're saying there, Simon, I think, because I think all of us can have that frustrating feeling when some people within a group are talking about something that you're not aware of.
Yeah.
And then you're just standing there and feeling outside the group instead of being part of the discussion, and maybe also the solution. One thing that we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes is the most important things are visible immediately, like the 1, 3, 10 seconds rule. And we're going to show an example within Boards on Fire, what we're meaning by that. Always have disruptions and deviations in focus. All of us want, a steady pace within the operations, that everything is running smoothly. And sometimes there are those small things occurring that is, hindering us from having that nice feeling. And those are the ones that should be collected and, of course, handled within Boards on Fire. Next steps are cleared, clarified during the meeting, and follow-ups take place the next day. If we talk about something one day and we're talking about taking decisions about it, of course, next day, it should be clear for all of us that we're taking it. Yeah, those steps.
Right, so structure that actually works in practice. And we talked about this. There is no global model, really. We have some ideas, of course, and we've seen a lot of different boards. So we'll try to boil a few of them down at least. So what does that mean? And here I want to talk about data a bit. So less data, more impact. Could that be a thing? So consider you have 10 KPIs in a board. That's going to be too much to look at, too much data, and just what is prioritized here? What are the important KPIs? So maybe not less data, more impact, but too much data might have an opposite effect. So boiling it down maybe to 1 to 3 KPIs per team could be a viable solution. And Ronnie, you talked about this in the webinar we had previous in Swedish. The image here is a good example, because what we see is line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4 at the columns of this customer, and it's a KPI that they all understand. So it's going to be easy to understand for the employees, and you can easily see, are we doing good or bad, and are there any actions following up on this? So yeah, too many KPIs might create confusion. So just a tip. Moving on to the next point. So a clear red, yellow, and green logic, right? So we use the colors everywhere, but do the operators and management as well understand and have the same definition of these colors? Do yellow mean the same to the operator reporting it on the floor as to the management looking at it in tier 2 or tier 3 meetings? If not, you have a problem. So we need to help define these and make sure everybody has the same definition of what they mean. Boards on Fire can help you with that. We have a function called global status inside the product, right? Where you can label the colors and make sure that everybody has the same definition and understanding. And with just a concrete or an example of that would be headings, where you type in as well to give the team information. Okay, orange, it means exactly this. It's a deviation, it needs to be escalated. So help define them. That's a tip from us.
Yeah, and it's probably a lot of you read different books about, quality deviations and so on. And it's almost always the same, especially in terms of quality. Like on the first couple of pages within that book, it's going to be, you need to have the same language within your organization. If things mean different for different people, we're going to have problems directly, and it's hard to work with with the quality and problems.
And it comes back to where we opened, right? To have a common understanding and just be synergized. Okay, so keep your deviation in focus. So like looking at one deviation at a time, don't bring up all at once. So try to keep the focus. That'll help a lot. And the product will help you do that, of course. Just build your board so you don't have that long list of a million deviations. Yeah, you need to move quickly in a pulse meeting. And visible ownership. And this one goes ahead with the next one as well, which is a clear deadline. So we need to move forward always. And to do that, we need to assign a responsible person for whatever type of action we're having, right? If you don't do that, then how to follow up? If there's no one responsible, it's going to be too hard. So we want to make sure that you always visualize the owner and set the owner as well as deadline. So the product, of course, supports that, but we've seen some cases where there are no responsibles, etc. Okay, so this is just a deviation lying around, sort of. Who's working with it? When is it supposed to be finished? How is it prioritized? And nobody could answer. So, yeah.
And how does that affect the people on the shop floor?
Yeah, it's not great, right? They'll be confused and they won't be taking any actions or moving forward. So, yeah. And then argue about whose fault it is.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, and a standard for how information is displayed, right? So when we build our boards, we usually talk about the 80-20 rule, making sure that we try to standardize the board so that they are, and Ron is going to talk about 1-3-10 rule soon, but just making sure that if I move from this team to another team, I can still understand very fast how are we doing and are there actions being done, and yeah, the most important things, right? So make sure to standardize the boards. And the final point, over to you.
Yep. The board should be instantly understandable. And what do we mean by that? Well, it depends on we're talking about the pulse meeting or during the day. The daily management board can have a little bit more information because we have some 10-15 minutes where we're looking at it and we can get a good understanding out of it. But even though we can have this, idea in the back of our minds that, how to make it quickly visible and quickly understandable. And especially during the day when we maybe not having the pulse board up, we have some other boards within Boards on Fire. And there we talked about 1, 3, and 10-second rule. And in 1 second, just, get a glimpse out of that board, you should get, okay, how is the current status right now? And one easy way is, of course, to work, as we see in the left column here, with the most important KPIs for us, and just, depending on the target, is it gray, green, red, or yellow? And there you get a quick one. And okay, there's minus 200 people. What is that about? Okay, you can dig deeper into that. But the most important is to know that we have a shortage today. And as soon as you've seen that, maybe you can also see that the focus for today is material flow, because we had some lack of that during the last days. Okay, then you have the 3-second rule. If we want to dig a little bit deeper, I have at least 3 seconds to look at the board. Okay, what can I see then? Well, then it's about the current focus. We might have some disturbances within the production. What are they about? Okay, we have some material shortage, we have a quality issue here, and we have a sensor fault. Okay, then I know why people might be running around or taking actions on certain things, and I also get an understanding of why it could be a little bit disruptive right now within the production. We have the last rule, the 10-second. That's when stop in front of the board and really getting a little bit more insights about how is it going, who's responsible for what, have I been responsible for not. It might be something that is problem, and we assign it to Simon, and if he hasn't got that information, he can at least see it on the board. Here we also can have the ongoing deviations that we have right now. It could be important for me because of the product flow that there's some problem over there, and in 45 minutes it might affect me.
Yeah.
And we also added a last one that 1, 3, 10-second rule, but we also have this information because people, the operators, the people on the shop floor, they may be not into the intranet as often as the management wishes. And then it's good to have this information board where you can flow information the whole time. So again, people are aware what is happening right now within our company.
Yep.
Anything to add up?
No, I think that was good, right? So it's not this is not a daily pulse board, right? We want to exemplify how to quickly set it up. So
Yeah.
and I think that's
And
clear.
we can have the idea with us when we look at the daily management board. You know, what is the most important that our staff needs? It's not about, okay, what kind of data can we take from our other systems and then fill the boards with that data? Is it interesting or not? Is it, you know, can the people affect it or not? And we're going to talk about that soon, right now. So we have a point here talking about automation vs engagement, and it's really two things. It's both in terms of follow-up, that is a little bit more historical, and then we have management, what do we do now? A little bit more proactive. Of course, it's very easy, especially if you have a lot of data from different systems that, you know, it's hard to see forward future data information. It's always about what has happened. And that might be good to one extent, but you also need to know about, okay, this happened yesterday. What do we do about it? You know, you have to take that shift, and we're going to talk about management and leadership in a couple of minutes. And that's really the management or attention also, how to focus on what do we want to aim, what kind of decisions, ownerships in real time and forward thinking. Not, you know, sometimes we see too much focus on what has happened, and thereby also
Yeah.
the discussions are.
Exactly. So Boards on Fire is a very interactive tool, right? So we want to move from just reporting and looking at yesterday's to, okay, how can we manage today? What can we do? Decisions, actions, and how can we make the operators feel engaged in the meeting as well, doing the activities, etc. So
Good.
yeah.
Good. Let's continue.
Right. And pulse and tempo. So a daily pulse meeting should drive action and result. Just what I talked about,
Yep.
not only discussions, right? So we have seen a lot of examples where the meeting just becomes a reporting of what happened and whose fault was it, and you can get into long-term discussions, and then the pulse is dead, right? The tempo is dead, the rhythm is dead, and we don't want that. So we need to move away from that and just make sure we all are in agreement what the pulse is about, right? And we want to drive actions and we want to drive results. So move away from reporting, move away from status updates, and try to focus on moving forward and keeping that tempo up. So clear actions every day. Every meeting should result in concrete actions and clear ownership. What do we do now? And I think also that right action, right time. So you don't need to cover everything in a pulse meeting. Take the right topics in the right forum, right? So, okay, we clearly don't know more about this. Somebody needs to be responsible, dive deeper, and finish that. Move on, right? Don't discuss all the issues or potentials, etc. And if you have other problems, you need to escalate and then move on. Are you with me, Ronnie? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So you need to. Yeah.
Sorry. I guess that's the reason why we call it pulse meetings.
Yep.
You know, there should be a pulse. It's not about just taking the pulse on the operations. It's also to have that pulse feel.
Exactly. And it's and we've seen a lot of meetings, right?
Yeah.
So when we visit our customers and visit factories, we're not only there to talk Boards on Fire, we're also usually joining in on the daily meetings in all of the tiers. And we can easily see that when we lose the people in the meeting, it's when it gets bloated with information and people just wander off, right? So that's a lesson learned, I think. Yeah, and short decision loop or fast decision loops, right? You need to make faster decisions. Don't dive deep and don't talk about too much later. Just make a decision and move forward. And make sure you have clear priorities in the meeting. So what is most important today? What are the bottlenecks? What are the disruptions and deviations, delivery risks? We need to keep the focus. So focus will drive the pace. Yeah. And closing the loop, I think it's important because you need to follow up on previous actions and close completed items. If you leave too many things open for a long time, the system will lose credibility. The operators will lose credibility in the process. So we also need to make sure to close the loop. And we understand, of course, that will be hard if you have a long list of deviations. So, I mean, who's to say what's right? But we think prioritization is very important, right? So, in order, don't show a list of 20 things. Try to work with that prioritization so you can move forward, close activities, and yeah, keep that pace. Yeah, and a visible progress, right? So what's moving forward, what has been solved, that'll drive the engagement as well. So we continuously follow up on that every day. So pulse equals decisions plus momentum plus follow up, right? So that's just keep the tempo going. Anything to add?
It should be about the fast decision loops. Don't confuse that from our perspective with too fast decision makings. Like, okay, we have a problem here. Okay, then we do this. Well, that's not what we mean by that. We have a problem here. We're going to look into that, and the ones who are going to look into it is Simon and Ronnie. And
Yeah.
maybe they should do a root cause analysis or whatever it is to really dig deep and understand. But the first decision to really, okay, we should not talk about the root cause analysis during the meeting. Hopefully, all of this is clear. But the decision to do
Yeah.
it when we have some time over, that is the decision.
Exactly.
Here is a point that is, very interesting, I think, about daily management, because it's not just about following up or looking forward. It's also about educating the staff to have the right. We're going to talk about the leadership in within the next slides, and when we talk about lean or Six Sigma or whatever it is, it's very much about train the trainer, and it's also train the trainer when it comes to the people on the shop floor, and use the daily management to ask really powerful questions. If we had a disturbance yesterday, why do you think that one occurred? So it's not to have an endless discussion, but it's at least to okay, why did that happen? Or if we're running an improvement and maybe working with PDCA, why do we do a PDCA? Well, it's not just about having a structured problem solving and continuous improvement. It's also to learn how to see how different actions leads to different outcomes, and closing that gap. So train prioritization and focus, train ownership, train problem solving, train collaboration, continuous improvement mindset, and really much about the mindset. I mean, it's so easy to lean backwards and say, okay, we got a problem within the operations. It's a problem for quality. It's a problem for a product technician, the management, some other department. Well, what happens if we have the mindset? It's our problem. And to trade that, and that's really a cultural part that we're also coming into later, that we are taking responsibility for our operations.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we do that here in Boards on Fire as well, right? So
Definitely.
we try to train every day as well, and in identifying our own deviations and how to ownership and collaborations between our departments and our own teams, etc. So we're working towards this culture as well.
It's the developer's problem.
Yeah, it's the developer's problem.
No, but it's really about communication and back to where we started. Clear understanding,
And turning that problem solving, right? So that you start thinking about things yourself and, okay, can this be solved by me? And instead of just throwing it away.
Yeah. And I really like to stress that one at the bottom. Culture isn't built in workshop. It's built in every day. It's not about, once a year, twice a year, make a team building effort. That's a good thing, but it's not the cultural thing. The culture is about what we do every day, what we train about every day, how we handle different problems, how we handle each other in every day. That's the tricky part, but that's also where the energy is. So that leads us to leadership and culture.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not always easy to lead a daily management meter or being a leader in general. And especially if you're new to the role or if you're not that comfortable with it. Then sometimes during a meeting, you want to show how much you know. So if there's an understanding, there's a problem or whatever within the daily management meeting, Then maybe you want to show, okay, now I'm going to show how much I know, how smart I am. But that's not what it is about when it comes to, training the staff and have a good daily management meeting. It's about being present. It's about asking, don't tell, and then also combine it with Gemba walks. We had a meeting just a week ago together with one of our customers, how to make a matrix within Boards on Fire for getting better, follow up on how to perform the different Gemba walks within Boards on Fire, and also how to take care of the outcome from it.
Yeah, and then the transparency of it. So visualizing it to the team so they also say, okay, we're doing these things, right? And that is one way of leadership as well.
Definitely. And for those of you who don't do Gemba walks, and maybe some of you don't know what it's all about, just Google it and do some reading about it. Really, really good thing in connecting the shop floor and the management and get a better understanding.
Yeah.
Give feedback that develops, escalate when needed, and it's not about just the closest tier management level. It's all the way up. So if we have a problem, or if I have, like an improvement ID, and I log it within Boards on Fire, how do I get the feedback? And can I follow my case? Maybe in some of your companies, you have a small, like a mailbox or whatever it is, where, okay, if you have a good ID, if you have a continuous improvement ID, please write it here and post it in a box, and then 3 months later, you get a feedback. Well, that's not the, best way of driving the culture. Report it within Boards on Fire. You can have, exactly as Simon said, you can have the transparency, you can follow your ID, you can follow your disturbance or whatever it is, and you can see how different people comment to that one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're really bonding to it. At least here in Sweden, we talk a lot within the companies about psychological safety. How do I feel in terms of, my connectedness within the team, within the group. And there, of course, leadership and culture has a really, really important part. And that's also a part of the daily management, because if you have either some individuals or a whole team that, don't feel that connected to the other teams.
Yeah, and we've seen examples, right, of customers being green every day in each of the quality, delivery, personnel KPIs, and from our perspective, that's not possible.
Is it really?
You're just not raising your deviations, right? So from our perspective, that means, okay, maybe they don't feel comfortable in raising the actual issues for some reason. So they try to be green every day, but that's not the point, right? We want to make everyone aware of our issues, our deviations, disturbances, etc. So make sure to raise that.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah.
Sorry, you go.
Yeah, but leadership is hard. We know that.
Yeah.
So, but still, daily management is so closely connected to leadership, because the actual meetings needs to be led by someone. And yeah, we realize it's hard, but here, these are our thoughts.
And that's also one of the things within, for example, lean management, we love deviations. Boost the deviations. If you see more deviations tomorrow than today, that's a good thing. If you see even more the next week, if you see from new people, from new sides of the production, that's a good thing, because they are there. The thing is just, are they being reported or not before it reaches the customer?
Right. So some common pitfalls, and this is our shared experience, right, from visiting all our customers and being part of the daily management. So often I think it's not big problems. So we don't see any major issues. There are small everyday issues, of course, and that's what we try to talk about here. So we've mentioned some already, and too many KPIs, too much data. It'll be hard for the team to focus. What is important, what it's not. There's just too much here. So tip from us would be, just make sure, look over your boards. Are all these KPIs actually necessary? And if they are, do all of these belong in the pulse meeting? Maybe some need to be in a weekly meeting or some other board, right? Because if they don't need to be pulsed every day, maybe they should be moved. So consider that. And yeah, the meetings become reporting. We've seen that a lot, where people just talk about the actual issues, whose fault it was, etc., and that just completely kills the meeting. So make sure to move away from that. And I think that's a lot about leadership, right? The Boards on Fire is just the product that's going to help you manage the daily meetings, but we can't make sure you drive the meeting as it should be. So something to teach everyone and consider. Yeah. And unclear ownership, we've seen that a lot as well, where actions are being created and deviations are being reported, but there is no follow-up. Who's responsible to do what? And when that lacks, we can see the list gets longer. You'll have the same issues often reappearing. So make sure to always assign responsibles, deadlines, and follow up. Yeah. Board being not updated. This is a problem to 1960s when the whiteboards existed, right? Same issue. And even though it's a digital board now, we can still see these problems where there's a meeting started, but there is information lacking. So, okay, we're wasting time. We're discussing without having the data we need to discuss. So just make sure to follow up that your structures are in place to always have the boards updated.
And I really like to connect that one with the last point there, with unclear ownership. Maybe it's like who's responsible for what within the board. If all areas of the board are owned by different people, then it's easier that it's always updated. But if like, okay, Simon takes care of it all, then he needs to hunt, and then it's going to take longer, or it's easier for not being updated.
Exactly. And meetings becoming too long, you're losing tempo and you're losing interest. And I mean, we've discussed, right? The pulse is about driving momentum, making actions, taking decisions. And whenever it slows down and you lose your focus, yeah, you lose a lot actually. So make sure that I'm sure you have already decided the meetings should be 10, 15 minutes long, but you don't make sure that's the actual case. And I mean, Boards on Fire has a timer. We support the functionality, but that doesn't mean that the meetings actually follow up on that and start the timer and follow it. So yeah, just something to look over. And then one of the most important parts here, no prioritization, then everything becomes important and nothing gets done. So we've seen a lot of these cases, I think, where you have long lists of activities, and we realize these are all actual problems that need to be taken care of or corrected sometime. But it's not in a pulse meeting to look at a list of 20 actions. You need to work on your prioritization. Okay, what are the actual important things that will make us move forward today? They should be discussed and they should be on top of the line, and the rest should not be pulsed, at least from our perspective. So make sure you have a prioritization, and that the team members also are taught how to prioritize and know what is most important for the day. Yeah. So making sure all of these small things work will have a big impact, we think, on your daily management flow. Yeah.
And here I would just like to add that, time and timing is everything. If something occurred, then people are more willing to work with, taking care of it within the next hours, the next days. But if something, okay, we find something here on the list, it happened like 10 days ago, who wants to take care of that? It's like, I don't even remember what happened. There's no, gut feeling or energy within the question. The sooner or the closer to the failure or a problem or whatever it is, the more energy is into it. Okay, how does Boards on Fire support this? How to create even greater impact? Simplify and sharpen focus. I mean, Boards on Fire is so super easy to adjust and update. Many times we say it takes shorter time to update a Boards on Fire board than to stripe a whiteboard. So if you want to try something new with your team or a bunch of teams, just make a copy of the board that they have and adjust the copy and try that the next day and see, okay, what impact does it have on the group? Try to be a little bit creative there and also challenge the group. because then are you missing that point or not? Oh, we didn't miss that. Okay, we had it for like 1.5 years and there's no energy into it. So you really try to narrow down what are the different points on the board that drives energy, that drives the pulse. Make decisions during the meeting. Again, it's not about making the root cause analysis during the meeting or the Ishikawa. It's about making the decision. We should look into this. This is the deviation that we need to really dig down and understand. And that's the decision we make on the shop floor. Follow up every day, clarify ownership and deadlines. It's so easy within Boards on Fire. We got new features also with a week planner and everything that you can see, okay, has Simon been assigned something that he should take care of during Wednesday today? Then you can see it on the board. It really drives the actions. Drive continuous improvement systematically. That is maybe one of the most important. Some of you are probably up and running with your continuous improvement. For those who aren't, try it. Try to challenge your organization with working with continuous improvement. In the beginning, do it lightly, but then step up. If I get a little bit technical, do it within an entity in the start, and then use the continuous improvement module. It's so super strong, and we can really see the difference from the companies that are using it and those who are not. Use history for learning, not talk about that much. It's all about the learning. What do we learn from our history and how we're going to take progress on that today? Life is about going forward, not looking too much into the history. And of course, develop leadership and behaviors. We can't stress that enough.
Exactly.
And that's also important for you. Maybe some of you during the meeting here, you are fire starters for Boards on Fire. You are the one who's maybe responsible for this environment. Have a close connection with the leadership, with the management. Why are we doing this? The importance of the management to support the daily management and the stuff within Boards on Fire. And because if they start to lack, the operator's going to lack. It's kind of easy.
Yeah. And if you feel you need to discuss more with us, we're happy to engage in a conversation if you want to dive deep into any of the subjects we've talked about today.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So there we are. Our aim was to talk about different perspectives on the daily management with, of course, Boards on Fire in the middle somewhere, but also some of the parts that are interconnected together with Boards on Fire that is really necessary to get a good output out of it. And this is our first aim to develop a playbook about Boards on Fire, and it's like a 0.7 or 1.0 or whatever it is. And then we're going to take it even further, because our aim is to be able to support you even more when it comes to methodology about, doing pulse meetings and using Boards on Fire and how to get it, really good going. Yep.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. So we are here and at the end of this webinar, and we just like to highlight that we're going to have a new one in mid of June. There's going to be a date available soon. And the next one is going to be disturbances and deviations. And because we're getting a lot of questions about this, we're working with deviations today. We're working with disturbances within our company. How do you have some ideas about how to do this in a good way? We have actually, maybe not for all of you, but for the ones who are in Sweden, we have a gathering next Thursday.
Yep.
Where we're, invited all of our customers. And sorry for those of you who are international, we're going to be better at hosting those.
We'll host an international one.
Yeah, maybe in a digital version the first time, and try to take it further. But it's going to be about we love disturbances and deviations and how to turn them into fuel for continuous improvement within Boards on Fire. So we're going to talk about this on our meeting together with the customers next Thursday, and the lessons from that one going to be the base within the webinar in June.
Perfect.
Perfect.
And if you want to watch one of our old webinars or this one again, or send it to a colleague, whatever, you can find it on our YouTube channel. So Boards on Fire Official, you'll find all our webinars.
Yeah.
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 So we are out of time, but if there is a question, we can stay on and maybe answer it.
Of course, of course. Maybe we should open up that one and see if open up the chat. You're more than welcome to if you have any questions right now, or otherwise you can just connect with us. And of course, you have all of you having your customer success manager that you can raise the question to, and if it's needed, we can add more people from the staff here to clarify whatever it is.
Seems good. So we apologize for our Swinglish, right?
Yeah.
And see you in the next webinar.
Yeah. Take care out there. Bye bye.